Hello, everybody, and of course, welcome back to another episode of X Talking Ish with your boy X.
And it's why.
Yes, sir. And of course, our very special guest for tonight, that man Dooley.
That man.
What's going on, everybody? Y'all know what's up. Y'all favorite co-host, y'all favorite guest, my magnificent boy X and Ish is basically back again. And I just wanted to say what's up, man. Y'all know where to find me, that man Dooley. Y'all see it.
Like Dooley said, co-host / guest, whichever you want to call him, he's here. He's that.
Hey, we
man.
love having him here.
And he is a character every time he's on here. We appreciate him as always. And if y'all know, and if you don't know, make sure you like and share this broadcast. If you are checking out on Facebook, if you are on YouTube, please make sure you like and subscribe on YouTube. And please make sure you hit that notification bell.
Ding.
Thank you, sir. And we also are on YouTube. So please, if you are on, on Twitter. If you are on Twitter, please make sure you go to my Twitter page, X_Williams81. On Twitter to make sure you watch us on there as well on Periscope. Alrighty then, first things first, like we talked about last week on Tuesday on X Talking Ish, I had the great opportunity to head over to Birmingham, Alabama, and be a part of the first annual HBCU Combine. And to be completely honest, it was a treat. It was a very underrated experience to be a part of something that is as historic as the first annual HBCU Combine. I honestly feel like it was an honor because you just never know where this event can lead to. You know, in the next 5 to 10 years, you know, maybe it can be on a national television broadcast like the NFL Combine that they have every year. And to be a part of the first one, it was just very humbling and very surreal to be a part of. I just want to name a couple of players that were there. Of course, we had, besides players that were trying to get drafted, there were also some free agent players. So just to name a couple of guys that were there: Rico Kennedy out of Morgan State, Ian McBurrow out of Morgan State as well, Solomon Muhammad out of Alcorn State. Let's go with Darius Royster, defensive lineman out of North Carolina Central University, Mac McCain out of North Carolina A&T. Let's go with also Deandre Francois, quarterback out of Hampton University. Michael Johnson, offensive lineman out of Savannah State University, who also won a leadership award. Keanu Gonzalez out of Shaw University. Jeremiah Abbey out of Southern University. And also, we'll just throw in there for wide receiver wise. You got to mention the wide receivers. Make sure we mention Deshaun Waller. Running back out of Alcorn State, and also Donnie Curley, wide receiver out of Texas Southern. So, with that being said, they had a lot of names out there. Our video for that event, for X Talking Ish, will drop on Thursday on Facebook and on YouTube. So please make sure you tune into our Facebook and YouTube page when it comes to our recap video, cuts and edits made by Chad BTV.
Bro, you didn't mention Jimmy Robinson. Boy ran a 4.28.
I'm trying to build.
Oh, okay.
We're not done with it yet. I know you quick to the gun.
You know, I'm just trying to say, my man ran a 4.28.
Hey, you're correct, sir. You're correct. Everything you're saying, you are not wrong on that. That's something that definitely needs to be mentioned, and I will, and I'm definitely gonna get back to it.
And that's laser time. For all y'all haters out there.
Let them know. That ain't nothing to play with. That is for real. That's real deal Holyfield. Everything that you said is, yes, you are correct, and I'll get back to that in a second. I'll just letting everybody know that the video will drop, and Jimmy is actually in the video as well. I talk about his 4.2840 in the video because that is not something to play with. Speed is speed. It don't matter what division it's coming from. It don't matter what level, what HBCU, PWI, don't matter. Speed is speed. So definitely be on the lookout for Jimmy moving forward. Hopefully he gets an opportunity the next level, because when I talked to him after he got done running his 40, I told him straight up, hey, you everybody was buzzing about you. Like
Everybody.
literally when he ran the 40, everybody was talking about him in the room.
Even the Jackson State game, they mentioned him in the Jackson State game when they were playing this weekend.
Oh, really?
They even said something about the HBCU Combine, that was going on this weekend. I heard a boy out there ran a 4.28. I was like, hey, Jimmy getting that love all over the place.
And that's the crazy thing about sports, and the crazy thing about just anything, right? Or the crazy thing about life, period, right? You think sometimes the work that you put in doesn't get noticed until you're in the right place at the right time. Sometimes things like that happen to where he's a small guy. Jimmy's about 5'6" on a good day, right? We're gonna give him 5'6" on a good day, and he's an electrifying wide receiver / running back. All you need to do is get him the ball in his hand, and he can make something happen.
He reminded me of a Tyreek Hill.
And that's what I was going to say.
If you watch
I'm
his
happy
film,
you bring that
that's
up.
kind of what he reminds me of.
That's
He
pretty much what he
throws
is.
the deuce up, every time he burns past everybody. So, yeah.
He did mention that as well. That is his celebration after he gets done, burning the boys. And he'll go out there and put on a show despite his height. And another guy that you can also kind of compare him to, especially being out of HBCU, is Tariq Cohen.
Yep. I was gonna say, hey, he is like a little Tariq Cohen. He's maybe not as built as Tariq Cohen. That's why I go with a Tyreek Hill more than Tariq Cohen.
But if you look at Tyreek Hill is kind of built as well too.
Yeah, he has gotten. Right, he's not playing around, and that's the one thing about Jimmy. Jimmy's gonna have to put on a little bit more, bulk up a little bit, but definitely he could be a returner. He could be, but I'm thinking he could be a returner at the minimum at the next level. Just to put him back there when they kick the ball to him, he is electrifying. He makes plays. Definitely one to watch out for. I think he's gonna get picked up by somebody out there just to give him a shot, just that maybe returning balls.
And as Lee, as always, appreciate you for tuning in to X Talking Ish. He says a guy like that can make a living as a return man. This is very true.
Oh yeah, definitely.
We'll talk about somebody very shortly who made his living as starting out as a return man and then became a wide receiver. And we're talking about, of course, Julian Edelman. We'll talk about him very shortly. What Ish said, like a Jakeem Grant from the Dolphins.
Yep.
Of course, when it comes to the HBCU Combine as well, it was very interesting to talk to these gentlemen and to hear what they have planned outside of football. That was, I think, one of the cool things of listening to these gentlemen. We know they could play football. And look, I know that I wasn't there to grill them about football. I wanted to see who these gentlemen are outside of football as well. And besides them loving football, they also, of course, love their family. They love their faith, and they also have a plan outside of football. And it's very refreshing to hear that, because let's be real, Ish. Us coming from Texas, we tell us to have a backup plan, but we want to play football. We wanted to make sure that we reach the ultimate tippy top of football, because that's just what was kind of drilled in us at a young age. And to hear these guys coming out of HBCUs, because we know, unfortunately, get the stigmas of not producing players in the right way. And I'm going to also throw Dooley in here as well, too, because Dooley went to Texas Southern, and he knows how it is going to an HBCU. And unfortunately, when you go to HBCUs, people look down on you. Let's just be real, right? People look down on you and feel like, well, because you go to HBCU, you're probably not getting the same education as a PWI. So with that being said, when it comes to listening to these players say, I want to be an engineer if I don't make it into the NFL. I want to still get back to my communities. I still want to do the A, B, C, and D even if football doesn't work out for me, it really was eye-opening because unfortunately, stigmas when it comes to football players, a lot of people think that we're dumb. We just run into each other, we just tackle each other and we don't have anything going for us besides just playing football. And it was very refreshing because like I told them about what we do when it comes to our podcast and what we're trying to do moving forward with the community and what we're just trying to do overall as a whole, it was just not like really, really great to hear what they had to say, because at the end of the day, we can all help one another, because when we get done playing football, we're still going to be human beings, and you never know who's going to need one another. And that's what networking is about. And that's what life is about, right? Because once we get done with one part of our lives, we move on to another part of our lives. No matter if you're no matter if you're a single person, you move on to marriage, and then into having, kids. Every part of yourself, you change. So you want to establish these relationships when you're young, especially with the right people, to be able to have those right people moving forward with you in life.
Yeah. I mean, it was great hearing some of these guys' answers and just seeing what they talked about and what they enjoyed doing off the field. I mean, really all the guys that you had a chance to interview will be a great asset to any organization that picks them up. Not only are they great football players, awesome on the field, can make plays for you, but they're wonderful people off the field, man. Like just seeing the conversations and talking with them, even in between interviews and stuff, some of the stuff you guys won't see on the video, but just like having a chance to just kind of talk with them. If you followed any of the X Talking Ish pages, he live streamed some of it for you. And just him being able to just kind of chat with them in between interviews and just seeing the way they interact with people, man, they carry themselves the right way. They got the right plans. Even if they don't get picked up somewhere, they're going to do great things, man. And that was great to see. Like you said, it was very refreshing to be able to talk to them and get to know people on a personal level and just kind of see where they want to go and what things they want to do, because, you never know what somebody wants to do or what their dreams are and how you may be able to help them and how they may be able to help you in the future. So definitely just great getting to talk with the guys and, learn about them as, people, not as athletes. Yep. So, yeah.
No, I definitely agree, Ish, on that one. The other thing that I will say, besides the football players talking about what they do as a football player, one thing that they also talked about is a family. What HBCUs that they went to bring to the table is about family and relationships amongst the football team as a whole, the teachers that teach them throughout the year and the semester, and also just the community as a whole, whatever school that they went to, no matter if it's on the East Coast or the South, HBCU-wise. It was just very, again, refreshing to hear them say, man, this campus, these people felt like a family. So that's why I wanted to come to this school. And it was just very, I know I keep saying refreshing, but it really is to me, because you don't hear this too often during the draft process, right? You don't hear these things from certain players when they go to PWIs, and there's no disrespect, no offense to them. Of course, we hear it all the time. Yes, my football family. Yeah, we got that. The football family part, right? But you don't hear too many guys that are African American talk about, man, Florida, I felt like family there, the whole campus, right? The teachers, the this, the that, right? You don't hear too many of that at UT. You hear too many of that at USC, right? It's just do your school work, go to class, do your work, and, do what you got to do. But for these young kids that are listening and they're seeing maybe the change of Deion Sanders coaching at Jackson State, Eddie George now named the head coach at Tennessee State. There's rumblings that Ed Reed, Warren Sapp wants to coach. Who knows? Maybe they might get an opportunity sooner than later. And then now we start seeing the for real shift and the for real impact of what HBCUs can really start to bring to the next level, because it's happened already. It's happened in the 60s and in the 70s, but everybody again started going back to, D1 schools. Nothing wrong with that, but everybody started to make that change back to the PWIs. But if we make that shift back to HBCUs, you'll be surprised of how much these HBCUs can get back to things, getting the right money that they need to fund their programs, either athletically or also academically, right? Be able to fund the cafeterias, be able to fund the academic side, the libraries, the technology that certain schools are missing compared to other PWIs. So it's gonna be very interesting to see. It's not something that's gonna happen overnight. It's not gonna be something that's gonna happen in a year. It's gonna take about 10 to 15 years for us to see real results. And before we move on, do any of my gentlemen have anything to say before we move on with this topic?
Absolutely. I just want to say it's a beautiful thing, what you guys are doing with the HBCU Combine. And like you said, you never know where something like that is going to be. Honestly, with people like Deion getting jobs at Jackson State, you mentioned Eddie George. That's a beautiful thing. Gentlemen, I think in my lifetime, our lifetime, we may just see a HBCU in the national championship. Like my man said, it may not be a year from now, but with things starting to slowly shift, with head coaches who are NFL legends becoming HBCU head coaches, okay, maybe future recruits might say, you know what? I don't want to go to Ohio State. I don't want to go to Notre Dame. I want to go to Jackson State and play for Deion Sanders. You know what I mean? So some people just may have that notion depending on the kid and how they feel about life. Because let me tell you guys something. As my good fellows know right here, it doesn't matter where you go. If a kid can ball, he's gonna make it. If your goal is to make it to the NFL, you could go to Texas Southern University. Now, you want to be a top draft pick, right? If you're that good and you're that dominant, you will be. For instance, in today's world, let's just say somebody who had about 20, 30 sacks in HBCU, right? In one season, right? In college ball. It's possible. It's possible. So they may not be top 10. They might be a first rounder somewhere, however, though, depending on the kid's stature, his height, his weight, things of that nature. You know what I mean? Because scouts aren't stupid. To find a real player, you never know. It doesn't matter what school they go to. They still could be a top round pick. Especially if your head coach is Deion Sanders backing you. If your head coach is Eddie George, oh, this kid played for Eddie George. Mind you, also Jeff Fisher is going to be on Eddie George's coaching staff. Okay, just for the people to know, So it's just a beautiful thing what's going on. We're starting to slowly see the tide shift. And if the tide can shift just enough, I'm here to tell you HBCUs will be back in motion. And I would love to see one of those schools in the national championship someday in my lifetime.
Ish?
No, man. I mean, Dooley said it all, man.
It'd be very interesting to see, how that works out, because at the moment, I don't think SWAC or MEAC teams can play for national championship. I might be wrong. Ish.
Yeah, they can only they can't play for any national championship. Matter of fact, the furthest they can go to is
the Celebration Bowl.
The Celebration Bowl.
That they have
there's a new bowl that's coming out. That's going to be in Louisiana that they're going to also have for HBCUs.
And that's the bowl game that Patrick Mahomes is a part of.
Yeah, they're currently kind of boxed into where they can go. But I could see it if the tide does start to shift. I could see potentially, you could see a SWAC move up. You see teams
you'll see a team consistently be good enough to be able to make it D1, to be able to make it like in the Southland Conference Or
see, but I would hate to see the teams break up because a team is getting popular.
I agree.
Or they got a certain coach they want to move up to.
I agree on that.
Because
once the coach leaves, and then all of a sudden, if the program's crumbling,
the traditions and everything, I would love to see the SWAC or the MEAC or both, move up to bowl subdivision. Let's include them.
Wait till the playoff is extended, boys.
It's not going to but again, it doesn't. Dooley, what we're saying is it doesn't matter if it is extended or not. You're still not in that same division to be able to play for the playoffs.
Okay, no, but listen, I wasn't finished. Wait till they extend the playoffs and maybe change up things and say to themselves, okay, the winner from this conference, the HBCU conference, can now become in the playoffs. After you win, what was the bowl you just said? It's the
Celebration Bowl.
The Celebration Bowl. So whoever wins the Celebration Bowl may be now allowed in the playoffs.
All right, now you're just speaking fantasy football right now, because again, this is college. No, seriously, this is college football. This is not the college basketball playoff or the March Madness playoff, to where you're pretty much doing play-in things. I got you on that, because if they do that, Dooley, now you're playing literally 13, 14, 15 football games, which college football, or maybe more than that, because now they're already playing 14 games. So maybe 15, 16, 17 games in a year. And again, if you're so-called college sports, you're not supposed to be playing that many games for no pay. So that's the point that we get at, is where now you're going to start running these players into the ground before they even get in the NFL. Now you're playing 17 games in the NFL.
Well, that was just an example. It can easily be remixed into another fashion where, okay, now, like you guys were saying earlier, now Jackson State is D1 and they have schools like Ohio State on the schedule. So some HBCUs may just move up completely. So that was just the first example I made. I understand where you're coming from as far as playing 13, 15. Yeah, whatever. I get your point. But I was just trying to make up some type of scenario to allow these schools to play for all the marbles someday. That's all.
No problem. I appreciate you, dude. Let's go ahead and get to the comments right quick. Lee says the basketball changeover to HBCU is becoming a real trend for a lot of top recruits. Should slowly turn into big-time high school football names next. He also says if Adam Thielen can make from D3 can make it, there's no reason why the tides can't shift more into HBCU community. We'll see what happens. Fracture Walnut also says for that to happen, the whole conference would have to be pulling 5 stars for about 5 years straight at least. He also says while beating big name schools. I definitely agree with you on that one. I mean, it's just in due time. It's not something that's going to happen tomorrow, and we'll just have to wait and see. Alrighty then. Speaking of, because you gentlemen said it prior to this topic, people that weren't drafted as highly being able to make a name for themselves. This is probably one of the prototypes, if not for his other teammate, his other Patriot teammate, Tom Brady, being a 7th round draft pick, Julian Edelman, being on special teams as a returner, and then becoming one of the Patriots' better receivers. I mean, they have a lot of slot receivers. He could probably be number 1, depending on who you want, Deion Branch or Julian. And being able to make a name for himself, mainly in the postseason, for his postseason clutchness. This is a very hot topic on social media today. Been going around social media, has not stopped. I need your help from my family that's out here listening to X Talking Ish and my beautiful people on here, Ish and Dude. I need y'all to help me on this one.
Oh, absolutely.
Is Julian Edelman a Hall of Famer?
Well, he absolutely is a Hall of Famer. If we're talking about the Hall of Fame for the New England Patriots, okay? So he is one of their best receivers of all time. But my man, with less than 8,000 receiving yards, with only 3 1,000 receiving yard seasons, that's not good enough to be in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Now, if Julian Edelman was a receiver from the 1970s, it'd be good enough, okay? But he's not a receiver from the 1970s. He's a receiver from the new era, and those statistics happen to not be good enough, okay? Now, let me tell you something real. If the Hall of Fame was based off heart, absolutely Julian Edelman would be in the Hall of Fame. But it's not based off heart. It's based off many things. Number one being your numbers, okay? Now, Julian Edelman does not have the great numbers in which I would personally put the man in my Hall of Fame. You know, I wouldn't do that. You know, he's a great receiver. Mind you, he's a California guy, Bay Area guy, went to San Mateo. That's a school not too far from where I'm from. Okay. You know, great school. You know, he took the JUCO route and still made it into the NFL. So Julian Edelman is one of those players where he wasn't even supposed to be in the NFL. He had to beat the odds. And so he did. Okay. But when we're talking about the word Hall of Famer, NFL, the Pro Football Hall of Fame, Canton, Ohio. Absolutely not, ladies and gentlemen. That's all I have to say.
I'm just going. No. Like, why? What? I don't understand. Like, I've been seeing this on social media, and honestly, all these people who are out here crying about Julian Edelman potentially being in the Hall of Fame, stop. Like, I don't even want to fully address you because clearly something's wrong with you. The man is not a Hall of Famer. I mean, look at we could go through a list of receivers in his era who are better than him, who probably won't even make the Hall of Fame. So why is it that your obsession with Patriot players who, yes, they won rings with Tom Brady, why is your obsession with them something that automatically puts them into the Hall of Fame? No, he's not making the Hall of Fame, okay? He's great. He's a great story. He's done a lot of things, including some steroids or who knows, some substance stuff. There's some substance stuff in there. So he's done some of that as well. And he still doesn't have the numbers of a current day receiver to even put him in the conversation. The man is not in the conversation for the Hall of Fame. Stop it. Like, all you out there, Patriot fans, whatever you are, Tom Brady fans, whoever you may be, stop. He's not in the Hall of Fame. Like, I'm getting tired of us trying to water down the Hall of Fame and put every single person who retires into the Hall of Fame. Anybody that's won a Super Bowl now automatically got to go into the Hall of Fame. So I guess all the Tampa Bay Buccaneers from this year are going into the Hall of Fame. Shaq Barrett, I see you in the Hall of Fame. You know, Chris Godwin, welcome to the Hall of Fame. Mike Evans, welcome to the Hall of Fame. Like, I mean, come on now. Really? Like, yes, he won some Super Bowls with Tom Brady. Cool.
Don't forget about the MVP. Patriot fans will throw that in there as well. He won an MVP as well.
Oh, wow. He won the MVP of the Super Bowl?
Yeah.
Oh, man. He's a Hall of Famer.
You're right. Exactly.
You're a fool, sir. You are.
Bro, I'm tired. Honestly, man,
I've seen it all day.
I didn't know how I was going to react on camera because I was watching it all day on social media. And to be honest, it was irritating me. Somebody really got into it on the Discord server, really wanted to start arguing with people. And I just had to mute the man because I was really getting tired with him. He even went into Big Ben versus Eli.
Oh, yeah. Eli Ben get thrown in there.
I was like, dang, so y'all throwing Eli Manning under the bus just to make the case for Julian Edelman? Like, is that serious to you? Look, you got to go to a quarterback?
Look, I seen. Hey, might as well throw Flacco in there already, right? Because of the postseason success.
Yeah, Joe Flacco, you in the Hall of Fame. Welcome.
You know, might as well.
Oh, but let me say this because this is near and dear to my heart because I forgot. I did want to address this. Even though he doesn't have the rings, Ocho Cinco should be in the Hall of Fame before Julian Edelman. If Julian Edelman gets into the Hall of Fame before Chad Ocho Cinco, like I will have a serious problem. Like this is near and dear to my heart. That is my favorite receiver of all time. And for him to have the numbers that he has in the place that he played for years, and then you gonna sit here and tell me because Julian Edelman wants some rings, you gonna put him in there?
Hey, Cincinnati Bengals leading receiver. Man. Franchise leading receiver for Cincinnati Bengals.
Just to add to that, Anquan Bolden as well. Period.
And Anquan has 1,000 yards receiving in the playoffs.
Period. If we're talking Edelman, Anquan Bolden should be in the in Canton, Ohio.
Like, come on, man. That's what I'm saying. Like, you got some guys.
It's twice the receiver Edelman is.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm not even arguing to say that Chad, because I don't think that Chad, just based off of what he did,
he didn't do enough.
He didn't do enough. I don't feel like he did enough.
He had some good numbers, but I respect that. No, and I respect that because you are correct. I think Ocho Cinco has had the numbers, he had the longevity, but he did not. If he maybe was able to get a couple of playoff runs in, maybe a ring,
just a little bit more,
he would be fine. But because of just the lack of postseason success for the Bengals and just it was just the Bengals, unfortunately. I mean, for certain teams, you got to do more. And for certain teams, just because of the team that you play on, like this team, the Patriots, you kind of get a little bit more, hey, look at this guy because of – and it's not necessarily the case. It shouldn't – and that's what's – I'll say this. When it comes to Hall of Fames, as much as we get on the NFL about their Hall of Fame process, they probably are the best out of the three when it comes to MLB, NFL, and NBA Hall of Fame, because the NBA, they do like your whole from high school to college and pro. They count everything. NFL is just straight NFL. MLB, they of course count just MLB, but when it comes to how they go about what they want to go about certain things, it's just like, right? So the NFL, when it comes to their protocol, I respect their protocol a lot more than the other two major sports. With that being said, I'll just say my 2 cents on it, because I wasn't going to get into it with people on social media, but I just had to go back and forth with people just a little bit, especially my own family members that are Patriot fans. And I have family members tell me that all that matters when it comes to just Julian Edelman is his postseason. It doesn't matter what he did in the regular season. So I'm asking now people, hey, apparently it only matters what you do in the postseason, because what you do in the regular season don't count no more in Hall of Fame. And it's unfortunate, again, because we are trying to, like it said, besides water down, we're trying to make exceptions for certain people. And it's not going. That's not how it needs to be when it comes to the Hall of Fame. Same thing with T.O. Again, Ish said about his favorite receiver. I feel the same way about T.O. Y'all, the Hall of Fame committee tried to hold him to we're just gonna hold you because we don't like you. That's what it was. It had anything to do with what he did off the field. You could say he was in the locker room, cancer. He was this, he was that. That's fine. Maybe hold him for a year, but to hold him for 2, come on, third time ballot. But Randy Moss get to get in first ballot, and we know the things that Randy Moss has done on and off the field. I'm just saying the way that they go about the process is very iffy.
They make exceptions for certain people.
That's all I'm saying.
Make an example out of certain people.
Example out, all that stuff. But one thing we are not going to do, because I'm going to bring this up. What we are not going to do, we are not going to just skip over certain players because of certain teams that they play for. And the person that I'm bringing up is Hines Ward. There's a little thread on Twitter, and the comparison is Hines Ward to Julian Edelman. Hines Ward has 1,000 catches, and again, this is just a little comparison of what they have in just their career. This is not even postseason. But Hines Ward has 1,000 catches. Julian Edelman has 620. Hines Ward has 12,000 yards. Julian Edelman has 6,800. Hines Ward has 85 touchdowns. Julian Edelman has 36. Super Bowl MVP, since people want to talk about that. They both have a pair. I mean, both have a one.
Can we please circle and focus on the bottom, on that bottom one?
And the Pro Bowls, which to be completely honest, I really don't care for Pro Bowls. I'm more of an all-pro type of guy. Hines Ward has 4.
Is he
Julian
even an
Edelman.
all-pro?
Julian Edelman doesn't even have one Pro Bowl. Again, I'm not saying Julian Edelman is a scrub. I'm not saying he's a bum. I'm not saying he's not clutch. But for you not to even have a Pro Bowl when it seems like from time to time they give those away like candy. Like you weren't even in top 5 discussion best receiver in all of your 12 years playing in the league. Like come on, why are we doing this? Why are we doing this?
He doesn't have an all-pro. He don't even have an all-pro.
No, that's the point that I'm getting at. Like you can't get thrust into the Hall of Fame if you don't even have an all-pro.
Like, can we just move on from him? Because
how great would Edelman have been if he wasn't in that system? You could argue Edelman was a system.
Well, that's the point that I was going to get at as well too, Dooley. You have 3 guys that was in that system. Besides Wes Welker and Julian Edelman, you have Deion Branch as well. And if you look at the numbers between all three of them put up eerily similar career stats with the Patriots. And guess what? It was some guy that plays for Tampa Bay that was throwing them the football. I don't know what's his name. I don't know his name right now off the top of my head, but I think it's Thomas Brady who was throwing him that football throughout the 20 years Tom Brady was at the Patriots and allowed that system to work a certain way. Again, we might have taken away the system title from Tom Brady, but for a lot of those other guys, depending on who you are, you played well because of the system you was in. Nothing wrong with it, because that's how certain systems are for certain teams. You can maybe go the same thing with Jerry Rice. You know, some people might want to throw out there certain players. Hey, they played in certain systems their whole career. I understand. I respect it. But at the moment, if we're going to throw Julian Edelman in there, we got to throw in Deion Branch. You better make sure you put in Hines Ward, Sterling Sharp. You better put in
Bowden.
Antoine. The list goes on, and it's just one of those things that the NFL is going to have to figure out, because he's not going to get in first ballot. He's not going to get in 5th. He might get in 8th, 9th, 10th. But if he does get in,
he can't.
If he does get in, it lowers the bar. That's all I'm saying.
He can't get in. If he gets in, like I said, I will personally go boycott and stand on the front steps of the league office if Chad Johnson does not get in before Julian Edelman. And Julian Edelman
Chad not getting in.
Oh, I know Chad's not getting in, and that's what I'm saying. Julian Edelman better not be in there. Chad is a 4-time All-Pro, 3-time first team, 1-time second team All-Pro, 6-time Pro Bowler. I mean, the list goes on and on. The man leads the Bengals. Think of the Bengals who had AJ Green
and also Chris Collinsworth.
And this man leads in receptions, yards, touchdowns for the entire franchise. Like, no, if Chad does not get in, Julian Edelman can't get in. That's my standard.
Make a good case, sir.
I'm setting that standard right now. If Chad don't get in, Julian Edelman can't get in. Sorry, Julian. You can call me personally if you want to talk about it, but you better start campaigning for Chad to get in so we can discuss you.
And it's a joke. And it's honestly, if they let Edelman in, we should look at the committee as a joke, which is what it is.
Yes.
We should look at it as a joke for holding back T.O. a few years. And, it ain't even about, Moss got in. It's about T.O. should have got in when he should have got in.
I agree on that one.
Because you and I could go back and forth on that, X, but we're just not going to get into that today.
Not right now.
T.O. should have got in when it was time for T.O. to get in. But they didn't, and that means the committee is laughable, and it's something that shouldn't be taken seriously. Okay, and last thing the committee wants is fans, diehard fans like us, and those in the world out there not taking the committee serious. That's the last thing the committee wants.
I agree with you on that. Let's go ahead and get to the comments right quick. Fracture Walnut asks, I thought you had to make a Pro Bowl to make the Hall of Fame. We just had to double check on that. Not certain on that, not for sure, but that's pretty sure I'm pretty sure everybody that's in the Hall of Fame has at least one Pro Bowl under their belt. He also says Wes Welker would have made the Hall of Fame before Julian for him to make it.
I have to agree.
Lee also says, ha, if no could go into his weak stats all day. Great player, amazing playoff games with the GOAT Tom. But long story short, shouldn't performance-enhancing drugs automatically disqualify you? Also, Plexico Burris shot himself, went to jail a few times, got a ring, and still got better stats than Edelman.
Hall of Famer.
Hey, Plex. Hey, if that's the case.
According to the new standards, he's a Hall of Famer.
Plex. Hey.
Not all about Plexico. For real.
Hey, also I want to throw this comment on here. Shout out to Keon Johnson. I met him at the HBCU Combine. He asked, who are some of the standouts at the HBCU Combine? Of course, that was our first topic for tonight. Just to name a couple of guys like we spoke about before. Jimmy Robinson, wide receiver out of Bethune-Cookman University. Also, from what I heard, unfortunately, I wasn't able to watch, but Deandre Francois, a former quarterback of Florida State University, is now Hampton University's quarterback, put on a great showing out there at the HBCU Combine. And from what I know of what I've seen from Deandre Francois and from what I heard from what he did at the Combine, do not be surprised at all if you see him in the NFL, at least as a backup. I think he might have an opportunity to at least be as a backup, be able to make a roster as a backup, and then depending on who's in front of him, could get hurt. Maybe we could see a PJ Walker situation in Carolina like we did last year, right? Where somebody goes down, you get in, maybe play for a couple of games, somebody gets an eye on you, and you maybe be able to go to another team that wants you to be their guy, right? So for Deandre, I think this Combine was a great opportunity for him to showcase that he's healthy, that he's ready to play, that he's ready to go. And it was just, again, a great thing to hear good things come out of him. Also, just want to give a shout out to Solomon Muhammad. He was a guy that broad jumped. That ran a 4.67, broad jump 9.4, shuttle 4.7, three cone was a 7.63. And it also did it with a partially fractured lower back. I mean, this is a linebacker doing this with a partially fractured lower back. That was just, amazing to hear. Also, let me hear a good one. So we have one more. Tyrell Goodwin, defensive lineman out of South Carolina State. He also bench pressed 34 reps at 225, nose tackle. 40-wise wasn't that great, but we ain't worried about nose tackles out here running 40. We ain't worried about that. Plug up that hole. Big time run. Plug up that hole. That's all we worried about for that nose tackle. For him to push 34 at the bench, that's great right there. And also, again, Ian McBurrow and Rico Kennedy out of Morgan State. Those were my standouts from what I saw. And hopefully, again, this is just the beginning of even more great athletes coming after that. And, again, these are the guys setting the standards. These are the guys setting the bar. So the guys coming after them in the second annual HBCU Combine, let's break some records. Again, I'm excited to see year two. Hopefully I'm there, and not just I'm there. Hopefully Ish is there as well too, so we can be able to broadcast that live again with both of us there instead of just me. And again, to finish up with the last comment before we go on to the last topic for the night, Lorenzo Guy says, if I had the skill and I was taller and I wasn't fat, I'd be in the NFL. Hey, wouldn't we all, Lorenzo?
I was going to say,
wouldn't we all?
all?
Yes, sir. Wouldn't we all? All righty, then. Like I said, we're going to wrap it up for tonight. We're going to talk about a couple of teams making a couple of more moves throughout this free agency period. Right before we get into the draft, in a couple of more weeks. Just give everybody a heads up. Next week we will be doing, of course, our one and only pre-draft. We will not do 3 or 4 or 5 mock drafts like Mel Kiper out there doing, and what's his name? Mel Kiper and the other guy. I can't remember off the top of my head. Todd McShay. There you go. My bad. Brain fart. But anyways, we're not going to give you 5 of them because honestly, there's no need for that. We like to wait for all of the traffic to slow down just a little bit when everybody's making trades and everybody's doing this, that, and the third. And for the most part, it seems like everybody has slowed down. So we're going to bring you guys, of course, our pre-draft next Tuesday night on the show. Also, of course, in 2 weeks when the draft goes on, I will be live Ish, are you gonna go live? Or do you know if you're gonna go live yet? But I know I will go live. Yes, come at you. Is that a yes? Come at me, bro.
Yeah, I'll probably be live.
All right. You was looking like a peacock. You looking like you was about to, put up that tail on me and stuff. I didn't know what you were doing at first. Come at me, bro. All right, yeah. So like I said, we'll be going live. We will definitely be a part of you guys viewing spectacle of this draft. It's gonna be very interesting to watch. It'll be brought to you from Cleveland, Ohio. So. It'd be very interesting since this is the first draft back from COVID-19. All right, so let's talk right quick about the Arizona Cardinals and a couple other teams. The Arizona Cardinals, another sneaky move with James Conner, signing James Conner to a 1-year deal. Let's hear what you have to say, and Dooley, let's hear what you have to say on this one.
I mean, I'm not too excited about it. He's coming in. He's going to be 1-2 with Chase Edmonds. I mean, that's pretty big duo right there. But it's nothing game changing for me for that offense. It's kind of the same offense as it was before, just with a little bit more depth. Honestly, this move just reinforces my feeling that I've stated from the very beginning when they started making all these moves. Cliff is on the hot seat. If Cliff, they're making all these moves for you, they're bringing all these people in. If you go out there, you don't make the playoffs again, or you go out there, you get booted in the first round. I don't care if some people may say that's progress. To me, Cliff, you got to go. Like, I'm just calling it how it is. You can't make all of these signings and bring all these people in, especially on the offensive side, which they're clearly catering to Cliff's air raid system. You can't bring these people in and then not produce something at least second round, maybe even NFC Championship game. Something's got to happen. That's just my feeling behind it. For James Conner individually, he's going to get his chance, do a little bit here and there. But it's been a down market for running backs, if we're going to be honest. So I didn't really expect too much for him or Le'Veon Bell or any of the other guys that are still out there on the market as running backs. You're not going to get much. Get in where you fit in, try to make an impact this year, and then we'll reset later on.
I just want to read Lee's comment right quick because I honestly have to agree with him on this one. $1.25 million, that's an absolute steal. Doesn't have to carry the whole load and stay more healthy, can catch the ball very well. Now they don't have to draft one late first or second round. And that's what I was going to get at is it gives James Conner to get back into his swing of things, right? Over the last couple of years with the Steelers, it just didn't seem like he was going to be able to be that every down back that the Steelers wanted him to be. And I don't know if cancer played a part of it, but and besides cancer, but also Pitt as a type of running school, run the ball first type of school. I don't know if that also played a part of it as well too. But maybe this might be a really good situation, not just for the Cardinals, but also for Conner as well to get his legs back up under him and hopefully be able to play another 4 or 5 more years instead of only play 2 or 3 and be up out of the league a lot sooner than later.
Man, honestly, I think this is a big pick for the Cardinals because Conner is a decent back. But this is why I think it's a big pick. First of all, I like to say, how everybody says it's a passing league. It absolutely is, except when it comes to playoff time. You got to be able to run that ball, okay? Few teams can actually win a Super Bowl straight up with a passing attack. Few. One of the only teams, matter of fact, was the greatest show on turf. And they had a great running back in Marshall Faulk. Just like how the NBA, everybody wants to say it's a 3-point shooting league. Okay, but when it comes to the playoffs, the teams that score the paint and mid-range tend to go further. You get what I'm saying? So here's where I'm going with this. With Conner being in the system, for God's sakes, they're giving Murray too many attempts. They're giving the young kid 40, 50 attempts a game. You think you guys are going to win like that, even with DeAndre Hopkins and AJ Green? I don't care, okay? I'm here to tell you, you need Conner and what's the other back again? Edmund?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you need them to establish a running game, which will only help you, Kyler Murray, in the passing game. Okay, so without the running game, I don't see the Arizona Cardinals getting deep into the playoffs. They have to run the ball, and they have to run the ball efficiently. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers said it all. Regardless of the fact Tom Brady was at the helm, that was not a passing team. They definitely ran the football, first and foremost. And they had some of the best weapons in the league, receiving wise. But what they do, they stuck to the run. They stuck to what got them there. And they won the Super Bowl against a team that was what? Primarily a passing team. You never know, Ish. If the Chiefs had a decent running game, ta-da! You guys would go 2-3 Super Bowl.
Well, the Chiefs, as a Chiefs fan, I may be speaking wrong-ish, but I think a lot of them felt like they already had a running game, and then they added, of course, Clyde's Edwards-Helaire, and they made their running game even better-ish.
We had line issues. The line was having issues that game coming in. We lost our best tackle the week before,
Fisher.
I mean, there was a lot going on with the line. The line that we played in the Super Bowl was nothing like the line that we had beginning of the season. As you saw, we had a really big to open up the season. We had a great running performance, and then as the season went along, and more and more people got hurt, we had to shuffle things around on the line. The run game kind of suffered from that. But hey, we'll be back. Don't worry about that.
All right, and with that being said, I appreciate you, Dooley, with that segue, because just like you talked about with Tampa Bay Buccaneers, seems like the rich get richer with adding another running back to their roster with Giovanni Bernard. The Cincinnati Bengals let go their veteran running back
finally
and let him get scooped up by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And I know it might not seem like a sexy signing, but this is going to be one of those signings where we might look back on and say this might help them reach another Super Bowl. I don't know yet. I don't want to claim this just yet, but I think this is a very, very good signing for both parties, because we haven't heard too much from Giovanni in a couple of years. And let's just be real. Maybe because it was the Bengals, or maybe because it was on him. But it gives Giovanni an opportunity to show everybody that he's not done playing yet, and he has a little bit more in the tank. He's only 29 years old, and who knows? Maybe he could be a part of that 1-2 punch that they need moving forward. Ish.
No, I have a huge problem with this signing, just like I had a huge problem with Phillip Lindsay signing with the Houston Texans. Bro, I'm confused at what's going on in the backfield in Tampa Bay now. So you had Ronald Jones. You brought back Leonard Fournette, and now you brought in Giovanni Bernard. Like, what is the situation looking like in that backfield? What exactly is that rotation? What are the touches look like? I'm confused. It's kind of turning into a Patriot situation.
Like Lee said, the exact James White role for the Patriots.
I mean, I'm assuming that's kind of what it's looking like, and that's what I was just getting at. That it's turning into the Patriots. Like, more and more teams are turning to the Patriots, where they bring in the stable of backs, and then they got the one guy that he comes in, he catches the ball out of the backfield. That's pretty much what he does, and then that's it. So
make I'm assuming and get 10 yards.
I'm assuming you're doing a 1-2 punch in the early downs with Ronald Jones and Leonard Fournette, probably going with the high hand, and then on third down or any passing situation, you bring in Giovanni Bernard. I guess that's what the rotation looked like. I mean, to me, it doesn't make that much of a difference. It makes a little bit of a difference because Leonard Fournette and Ronald Jones weren't that good at catching the ball out of the backfield, so it does add that threat. But outside of that, it's more the same from the Buccaneers. I still expect them to do really well, maybe even get all the way back to the Super Bowl. It's an X factor when you got Tom Brady. So, yeah, but Giovanni Bernard, I was confused by this a little bit. If I'm him, I'm looking for a better situation, but at the same time, like I said, previously talking about James Conner, right now, it's a get in where you fit in at running back, because these guys, where else do you go? I think any team that they go to already has a pretty good situation at running back.
Dooley, what's your thoughts?
Well, we already know running back is one of the most injury-prone positions in the league.
That's true.
I don't mind Tampa Bay adding to their depth. Matter of fact, Bernard is actually more of a speed back than Fournette or the other back. So maybe they're adding in him for the toss, the sweep, plays of that nature. So I don't mind them being 3 deep. Hey, they can afford it. Hey, the Buccaneers returned all 22 starters.
Yeah, and they got him for cheap too. They got Bernard for cheap as well.
Exactly.
So yeah.
Yes, they can afford it. So if they run the ball well, if they do a great job, I see the Tampa Bay Buccaneers heading back to the Super Bowl. At least we know they're following their creed. They're not saying we have Tom Brady and we're going to come out and sling it all day. Okay?
Are they not going to let Brady sling that thing?
Sling that thing.
Man. So I have no
sling that thing.
Being going to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I'm glad the guy can continue his career instead of playing for one of the league's most abysmal franchises there's ever been. Okay, there you go.
Just want to read the comment from Lorenzo Guy. He says, I'm calling this guy preach from now on. Boy, got that Holy Ghost. Can I get an amen? Of course, you're talking about that man, Dooley. And of course, as always, since y'all heard it on the show, please make sure y'all go ahead and hashtag slang that thing.
Because, slang that thing, baby.
Yes, sir. Slang that thing. Merchandise will be headed y'all way very, very shortly. We appreciate, of course, the support from everybody that tunes in. I appreciate you as well, Mr. Johnson. He says, my guys, great show. As always, look, we are public servants of you guys. We are here to make sure we educate, entertain, and elevate the people that are watching around us, because God gave us a gift, baby. And we gonna make sure we tap in on this gift. We're gonna give y'all what we know, and we're gonna keep on getting better every week, every month, every year.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. In every episode of X Talking Ish, that's what we do. And like I said before, next week we will be back once again with our pre-draft, our one and only pre-draft. We will go on. We will talk about the first round. Hopefully, what we think was going to happen. Of course, it's not going to happen that way, but hey, we're going to give it a shot. And yes, Lee, like he's asking on there. Yes, we are doing our first round mock draft. We are doing that on Tuesday nights next week at 9:00, and the week after that, like I said, we'll be there. We'll be, of course, on X Talking Ish again for another pre-draft and another, because a couple other things to let y'all know about. We can't tell you right now, but it's in due time. But like I said before,
we always got secrets.
We do. On Thursday, don't forget, on Thursday we will be dropping the HBCU Combine video that we have in store. Everything that I caught on the live, on Saturday, it will all be edited down in a nice little 10-15 minute video for everybody to watch. It will be on Facebook and our YouTube page, so please make sure you definitely check that out.
And you subscribe. Oh, and real quick, shout out to Chad Bowes. He's the guy that shot all the video for us over the weekend. He drove out there to Alabama with X, did a wonderful job. That's our dude. We love you, Chad. We appreciate it. Had to shout you out.
This is definitely correct. We appreciate Chad TV. Make sure y'all follow him as well. Make sure y'all follow that man Dooley on all his platforms as well. And as always, our family, we appreciate y'all for tuning in to X Talking Ish. Make sure next week, y'all see us again and slang that thing as always. See y'all next week.
Peace.